Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Calhoun's. Ready for a day at the lake, a family picnic? Don't forget the Calhoun's. Ribs or barbecue, all the sides, all the sauces, the plates, the utensils, everything you need packed right here in their own Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack picnic box. It's literally a picnic box. It's perfect, and as Chuck always points out, you just put all the trash back in there and carry that away too. It's perfect. Calhoun's, give them a call if you're heading out for a day on the lake or just a picnic somewhere. Feed 5, Feed 10 family pack. Show's going well because I've already gotten an angry text, which is great. Disagreeing with our logic that we're throwing out here.
Well, Bob's logic.
Bob's logic. Continuing my countdown, again what we're doing here, the 10 biggest sports icons in UT history. I give you my 10, then these guys cut me to shreds. Continuing my top 10 with number 7. We need more volume here in the studio on the horns, by the way. I'll tell my director that. I can't tell when the fanfare has begun. And by the way, yes, we know that's stupid to do the fanfare. That was kind of the point. Condridge Holloway, football player, 1972-74. Everybody remembers what a star he was, all SEC. And then, of course, as a baseball player as well. So when you're talking about an icon, you take both those things into account, all SEC, all American baseball player. And then, Josh, you look at Condridge Holloway here. You could make a case that Bernard King should be ahead of Condridge Holloway. The reason I didn't do that, and I looked at those two, the reason I didn't do it, Condridge Holloway came back and was an ambassador for the university for a lot of years, just announced his retirement in terms of working over there in the athletic department, whereas Bernard King was away for a long, long time before coming back and really being a part of it. So to me, that was the difference. If you're talking about icons, a lot of people grew up loving Condridge Holloway, two-sport star, and he's also been a part of the program for the last 20-something years.
Yeah, I think you get to this number, and it's the first sign of this is going to be a really difficult list to put together because all that he's accomplished, not only as an athlete, as a player, and how good he was, but an African-American starting at quarterback, the impact in the SEC, all of that, and then giving his life to Tennessee. Number 7 seems way low, but yeah. But it's probably right because we're going to get to some names that will make sense. But 7 seems low considering the accomplishments and the impact of Condridge Holloway. And
to be the first African-American quarterback in the Southeastern Conference back in the early 70s, now it was pre-social media, so he didn't get that kind of guff that you would get today. But he took the Jackie Robinson approach, which is, I'm just here to play ball. And he's said that throughout his tenure at Tennessee. He's always talked about the fact that I just came to play ball. And but you knew he took heat. Imagine what he would have gotten after every interception, after every loss. So he was a real...
my second all-time favorite UT football player.
Yeah. Only second, huh?
Yeah, behind David Moon.
And then number 7 matches his jersey, right? And from Huntsville, Alabama, what if he would have gone to Alabama? Can you think how differently some career paths would have been if Condridge Holloway would have played quarterback at Alabama?
Well, he got beat up so much. Bill Battle told him, "You don't need to play," and he said, "No, I'm playing. I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
So he had a lot of courage about him.
And how many of us remember that tearaway jersey?
Just a guy that kicked down doors. All right. Now, one of the greatest grudge matches in Tennessee history. You guys can probably figure out where I'm going with this. You're going to put one on top of the other one here. Here's how I did it. Let's go to number 6 on my list.
Oh,
we got the drums. Well, we started with drums for the drum. We got a drum major. Yeah, it's a heck of a tough list here. So number 6 on my list is John Majors, just a tremendous football player, All-American, runner-up for the Heisman Trophy, as everyone knows, the only man to ever lose to a guy who was on a losing team, Paul Hornung. And Majors has made the joke that neither one of them deserved it. It should have gone to Jim Brown back in that day. But SEC Player of the Year twice. Then he came back as football coach from 77 to 92, won 3 SEC championships here, and built it up. I mean, when he left it better than he found it. Also, member of the Hall of Fame, John Majors. The only argument here is, did I put him too low? And before I get into that, let's do these two back to back. Number 5 on my list, Philip Fulmer. That's right. All right. So, Philip Fulmer, football player, 69 to 71. He was all SEC 1 year as a guard. Football coach, of course, from 92 to 08. He took it over from Majors. Everyone knows that story. Won 2 SEC championships, won a national championship. Didn't end as well for him in terms of coaching. He didn't leave it as well as he found it. However, a beloved figure, and the program fell off once they got rid of him, comes back now as athletic director, and to me, that was the differentiator between the two. One was a tremendous player and coach. One was a player, a tremendous coach, and is now athletic director. So that's a longer stretch at the university for me. I went with Philip Fulmer 5. I went with Johnny Majors 6. Connors Holloway 7. Comments on these 3?
You know, I think with Coach Fulmer, it's still a moving target.
Exactly.
Because I think how he's going to be remembered, a lot of it's going to go to how does he handle his time here as athletic director. I actually had Coach Majors ahead of him because part of my factor was how good of a coach he was before he got here. I mean, his tenure stretches all the way back into the to the late 60s, and as a football coach, to build
State,
3 separate programs the way he did, to go with what he did here as a player, so I had those 2 flip-flopped.
I did too, and kind of for the same reasons that Bob did. And I can see the argument otherwise. I think John Majors should be in the Hall of Fame as a coach. They have this rule that if you didn't win 60% of your games, but as Bob pointed out, he rebuilt Iowa State. They were awful before he got there. Pitt was awful before he got there. They were like 1-11, and he won a national championship. And Tennessee was awful before he got to Tennessee. And I think building those programs showed a lot in terms of being a great coach. He's not in the Hall of Fame, but I think he should be in the Hall of Fame as a coach and as a player. And I gave him a slight nod over Coach Fulmer.
He is in as a player.
Right, correct.
And of course, Fulmer is in as a coach.
Right.
Your point about a lot of people look at it and say, well, look at Fulmer's winning percentage versus Major's winning percentage.
Yeah.
Well, you said it earlier.
Oh, exactly. Fulmer took it over here
Right.
and ended here, whereas Majors took over 3 programs here and ended here. Now, Fulmer went up here at Tennessee. Majors did that at Pitt, which doesn't count for me. But one interesting thing, go back and look, he went back to Pittsburgh after here, and it didn't work well.
Right.
But I think they went to a bowl game his first year out with Walt Harris when Walt Harris took over. So you could argue that actually he built them back up again and at least got them to bowl status when he left there. Chuck, your thoughts on
the tough part of this is that it's for the whole athletic department and not just football. And people thinking, I think if you're just talking football, obviously Johnny Majors is in your top 5 to me. And I think he belongs in that top 5 just over time, what he's done. I really do.
Yeah, we're talking Tennessee icons, and I think right now, if you look at it, this is that 3rd phase for Philip Fulmer. So being the athletic director, and he is the guy that is viewed as it's his time to help Tennessee get back again to the top. And we'll see if they get there. But it's almost like the last 10 years have really helped Philip Fulmer in his iconic status with Tennessee football fans.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes,
I think that's a great point. I had someone this week, and I'll give credit to Fulmer for this. He's calmed the fan base. This is a fan base that is typically mad, and I mean that in both definitions. It's either halftime crazy and halftime angry, and he's kind of calmed a lot of that. I mean, imagine if John Curry had walked out and said, "Here's your coach, Jeremy Pruitt." There is not the support for Jeremy Pruitt that he's getting today because Philip Fulmer's over there. I had somebody this week in that same conversation that was talking about, well, look what Fulmer has done to fix everything over there. He fixed basketball. He fixed baseball.
No.
And I said, Dave Hart hired Rick Barnes.
Yeah.
John Curry hired Tony Vitello.
Right.
But I think people are giving that credit to Fulmer because I'm not big on hiring alums. I just think go hire the best person. However, I think that in this case it has worked because I think it's a lot of people look at Philip Fulmer and say, I trust him. He's a Tennessee guy. I trust him, and I don't think they were going to trust anybody from anywhere else, as they've proven time and time again. So I'll give Fulmer the slide. That's difficult. That's difficult. So I look forward to the hate mail or the hate texts. When we come back, do I have the right icons at number 3 and number 4? Now it's getting tough. So if Philip Fulmer and Johnny Majors didn't make my top 4, what's my 4? Did I screw it up? These guys will tell me and you. Come on back on the Sports Source.